The key to success on the field and in your backyard is a comprehensive game plan. So if you're building a fence or a deck this year, trust a Turkstra coach to design, quote, or order the right materials for your project. Visit a Turkstra Lumber near you to learn more.
From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome to the Coach O Show. I'm Luke Tasker, and this is episode 1 of the 2022 season. Throughout the year, you can turn into the Ticats Audio Network weekly for a one-on-one with myself and Coach. I know I'm looking forward to a year full of insights from the head office at Tim Hortons Field. The Coach O Show is presented by Turkstra Lumber. If you're thinking of tackling a project at your home, talk to a project coach from Turkstra Lumber. They can help with everything from ordering a new front door to designing a new deck or fence. Do it yourself doesn't mean do it alone. Visit TurkstraLumber.com to learn more. Coach, it's great to see you again, man. I'm looking forward to the show this season.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. It's great to see you too, man. And just looking forward to 2022.
Awesome. We obviously broadcast this through any podcast catcher that you listen to and all kinds of internet sites, but one of them included is in video on YouTube. And Coach, please, is this chair that you're sitting on a new addition to your office? What's going on behind you? You got a great.
This is not. This is a training camp special.
Okay.
This is in the building that we're at, and it's kind of a little bit of soundproof insulation here. I'm not really sure what we got going, but no, this isn't an addition to the office. So This is a one-time only.
Okay, well, awesome. Episode 1 only. Coach, training camp, it seems like it just got started, and obviously we had another interruption to training camp. What's it like? What's the feeling like? Do you feel behind the 8 ball here getting ready for the season with a shortened camp already?
No, I think it was a camp of uncertainty, a lot of those things. And it was tough on everybody, not just the players, but the coaches. But I thought the way we responded, Luke, was outstanding. Everybody was just ready to go. And once we were between the white lines, there was a high level of focus. So, is it ideal? No, but we don't feel like we're behind at all because, we've just been practicing with the days that we've been given. So feeling good right now. It started a little bit slow because you didn't play right away. But now since that game happened, we're all of a sudden here we are day 3 getting ready to play our final preseason game. And then it's for real the following week. So it seems after the first game, it went really quick.
Yeah, I remember that from my own weeks at McMaster. That first preseason game, all of a sudden you're going downhill quickly into the season there. Mm-hmm. What do you credit that jumpstart into camp? Is that veteran leadership that you guys got off, like you said, just right away to the right foot? Is that just a good mentality in the locker room?
Yeah, I think it is about the environment that you create. And I think just consistent communication, powerful lines of communication are extremely important. And I really feel like we did that. This wasn't a us against them type of thing. This was a we thing. And, the players were going to handle their business and the coaches were going to handle, our business. And each side was going to control what they could control. And when we were all together, it was a positive vibe. And so, I credit, the personnel department for bringing in great people. I think there's a nice foundation of veteran leadership on this team. Same thing on the coaching staff. Just everybody was ready to hit the ground when that was going to be the case. And so I just think setting that framework helped us.
That's great. I ran into Chris Van Zyl when we were at McMaster briefly, Brandon Revenberg. It seems like their thoughts of this camp, that they kind of were all smiles. They're like, you know what? It's actually going pretty well. It's actually a good group of guys. It really, from an outsider, it seems like a cohesive group of players. Obviously, we know a list of names that have been around there for years, and Simone and Ted and Dane, of course, with taking the reins as QB1. What about any new additions to that leadership core? Are there guys that are stepping up, that are adding into that veteran voice in the locker room?
Yeah, you know what? You know this, Luke. The locker room is the player's place. And, every now and again, you'll walk through there mainly to get to the therapy department or something like that. So, the other new faces that may be taking the reins, I probably wouldn't know, out unless they were doing it out on the football field. But, there's, I think that what's really neat is that even the ones that have been around that may be vocal or lead by example, there's no ego there. So other people that are emerging, they get to have a voice also. And that's unique when you're dealing with this many people. So, I couldn't sit here and specifically tell you at this point. You asked me this week 3, I could say, hey, person X or person Y, I think has emerged either as an example leader or as a vocal leader. But, right now I'd say it's mainly the mainstays from before. But, I don't see it as an ego thing. Like, this is my team. Listen to what I'm saying. And you would know that from being in locker rooms.
Of course, that resonates with my experience with you as well. And we'll keep our finger on the pulse of leadership as the season progresses. But that game, that was a blast. RJ and I in the booth, and along with the rest of our team upstairs, it was fun to call. And every now and again, we were reminding ourselves or commenting on the fact that it doesn't matter, but the game doesn't matter, but it was just a blast to be up there and watch. Was it a fun experience for you on the sidelines, or were you encouraged by the energy out there?
I was. You could feel it in the building. It hardly felt like a preseason game from an energy standpoint from the fans. And I know, sometimes you forget that some of these players have never seen the locker room, right? They haven't felt that game day experience. They don't know what it's like to run out there. And so it's always a special moment for those players that haven't been a part of it. And then actually to put on a professional jersey, it's a special time. But then, when the whistle blows, it's about execution and it's about playing football. And while we weren't perfect and no perfect games been played, I thought we did well in certain phases. And then, obviously, it ended in true CFL fashion that the game's never over.
Yeah. What a tangible teaching moment for especially young Americans coming up, and 15 seconds left in a kickoff. There's not often much hope. Of course, I guess when I say that, it harkens back to the NFL playoffs with Buffalo and Kansas City last year. But
there you go.
But really unique, and that was really a cool CFL moment. And for a young guy, I'm thinking back to my first early preseason games, and I don't really remember a game quite as exciting or as just fun to be a part. To have a team storm the field at the end of a preseason game for a walk-off kick it's cool on its own, even though it may disappear into history being just a preseason match. But from your eyes as a head coach, successful game. Did you learn what you were hoping to learn about your guys?
Well, the expectations were just that, there wasn't, a stockpile of them, to be honest with you. Just wanted to go out and play and get a baseline and see where we're at in 2022. What is carrying over, what isn't. Take a look at the hash marks, some of the rule changes, how you're going to call a game. You get to do situations that you wouldn't normally get a chance to do. You can't hit all those in practice. And that's the importance, in my opinion, of playing the preseason games, making those quick decisions on 3rd and 2 based on the score, or, are we going to run the ball? Are we going to pass? Are we going to, pressure them here? Or are we not? There's just so many things that you can learn from. And then within that, you're still trying to get evaluation. Right. Yes, we always want to win. That's what we take the field to do. And it was a great feeling for all of those players and everybody involved, from video to equipment to therapy. Just that feeling, the locker room's always just a smidge different, even if it's a meaningful game or not, when you win. And so, but within that, you want to be able to grab some evaluation and you want to see some improvement on some things that maybe you weren't doing well in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to imagine that training camp on that next day is, even if the game doesn't matter, it's just a little bit easier and a little bit lighter when you for a walk-off field goal for the win. That's a great experience to be a part of, even for guys who, just the way it is, they may never actually make a team or make this team. Right. It's still a good football experience.
It makes rundown a little more palatable.
Exactly. That's much better said. It makes that conditioning on the morning after just a little easier to have the smile and to think, get to, not got to for that.
There you go, brother.
A little bit better. Get to, not got to is one of your great coaching lines. I imagine that you're climbing the mountain. You're at the very you're at base camp on the mountain again this year for the guys. And for you listeners that aren't following or aren't familiar, famous Coach O sort of coaching example is the visualization of the season being a mountain, and that peak is the Grey Cup championship. And with each victory and with each win you climb a little higher. Coach, is that still is that still preached to the 2022 Ticats?
You know what? We haven't got the mountain out, and that was for a reason, right? And
Yeah.
and the messaging there is that it's a different season, even though we did switch the mountain because it was a different one that we were climbing.
Sure.
We just took a little different approach to say, hey, this is a unique season. It doesn't mean that it won't come out, but we thought in the beginning, I just thought that I wanted, there's no carryover, right? The goal's still the same, but let's see what we are in 2022. And then once we have everybody assembled, we'll decide what kind of journey we're going to head on, what that looks like.
That's great. Quickly, you had mentioned the hash marks there, and to break off and sidebar into some technical talk for one quick question. Talk to me about that, because as I'm watching the game for my first experience with the tighter hashes in the CFL, things looked very, very different to me to the new boundary side of the CFL field, particularly with the will and the halfbacks responsibilities to that side. How is this changing your coaching approach? And I'll give it to you from a defensive standpoint here. That's going to change the way that the game is played to the boundary side there. In training camp, I'm sure the hashes are lined up new. I'm sure it's been addressed. As you head into a game, what has to be different about a defensive mentality and your approach to protecting that boundary side?
I think it's still ongoing, Luke. And, I don't think the sample size is quite big enough yet. And I think, as film will travel and everybody will have there's some brilliant minds in this league and on how to both defend it and how to attack it. And I think, we're still learning some of that also. Right. But in the meantime, I don't see playbooks completely being revamped. I'll just speak from our point of view. I can't speak for any other football team, but I do think that, as you would know, as a former receiver, that your splits and things like that are definitely going to be varied from the old playbook. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's an ongoing thing. And I don't know that we'll settle in, even maybe in the first third of the season. I think there'll be an evolution of things going on. And, obviously the kicking game is going to be, affected a little bit there. And maybe, as a preliminary look, maybe positively for field goal percentages across the league with less sharp angles. Yeah. But the kickoff moving back, I think there's I'm excited about the new rules, and I'm not even sure how we're going to defend them all in the beginning. It's great to talk about it, when you're around the four walls, if you will, but then you have to get out on the field. And that's what the exciting part of starting training camp was. So I think it's still ongoing, and but I'm excited about the change, and we'll see how it ends up.
I'm excited as well. From a receiver's perspective, it makes me imagine that Z receiver isn't just out on an island always now. That ball time's a little bit less. He can get pulled back into some regular concepts. And then the W to the boundary has just a W option right now. If you're going to play your standard high halfback and where the will has to do everything in the underneath coverage, if you put your athlete at W and run an option, I'm just excited to see what people in the league are going to be doing with that, because it seems like I want to go back and play again and run W options at 10 yards and just let do what you want to do. But certainly that's oversimplified. So we'll see how the league sort of corrects itself. Well, looking forward to it, Coach. Before I let you go, you've got one more preseason game here. What is the biggest thing you're looking for from your team going into the last scrimmage game?
I would just say improvement in the areas we're talking about, behind the doors, and, growth from a collective standpoint and individual standpoint. There's some players that, feel like need to step up and really make an impact in the game. And some need to continue to grow. Others, or somebody's going to flash and shine. And, I think ultimately, you want to come out healthy. You want to give yourself the best chance heading into week one. That is an uncontrollable factor, but if there was a way I could control that and still be super competitive, that's what you would want to do. So again, the expectations are to, be disciplined, play hard, play fast, and, as always, win if you can.
Coach, we're back to Guelph. My first ever experience with Coach O, 2013 on the field at Guelph versus Calgary. That was my first CFL game. And I can't wait to get back. I haven't been back to Guelph since, actually. I I was in Guelph for one Andy Fantu's charity event at one point, but I haven't been back to the field, and I'm very much so looking forward to it and watching your guys get after it up there.
Awesome, Luke. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting heading back to Guelph, and I think it's been upgraded a little bit. I don't think that the coaches will be intense up there anymore. I think they got something, but nevertheless, they're going to kick the ball off anyways, and we'll be ready.
Awesome. The listeners, fans, there will be no TV coverage this weekend. So your only chance to get the last preseason game for the 2022 Ticats will be either at the stadium in Guelph or on the Ticats audio network and our affiliates. We're looking forward very much to the game, Coach. And then after that, we're on to the ones that count. So, Coach, can't wait for the season, for our show together, and to watch you guys play both this week and moving forward. Have a great remainder of training camp, Coach, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke. Bye for now.
The Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. Like, subscribe, and find out what Coach is thinking every Tuesday.